Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today's stream is something that Tottenham on Tour is always been very, very passionate about. And even when I was on Tottenham Away at Bryan Island, mental health and addiction is something that's affected my life greatly and is continuing to do so. And it's something I've never been shy from discussing, and I'm very, very open about it, in the hope that someone can take some kind of solace from it or see that it can be turned around. So got a few guests on today. We're going to tell our stories. This stream is a very, very important one, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's start with the show. All right, so before I bring the guests on, I've just got a bit of housekeeping to do. So first of all, I want to say a big, big thank you. And one person's in the chat already, Andrew Gregory, who donated a huge super chat on the last Anger Management I was on, and reminded me that it was Mental Health Awareness Week. And we've been trying to put on a special with a couple of mental health specialists that we normally have. Because of my health, which I'll be going into, we haven't been able to organise that, and that will be done in the summer. And during the summer, we will have a month-long Just Giving page where we'll give 50% again to a mental health charity here and 50% to Mind back home in the UK in England. So I want to say a big thank you to him. And the other person that left a £50 super chat, but we didn't see it at the time, was Graham Hill, who has always said when you do these mental health specials, I will put a super chat in to support you guys. So thank you for that. I don't know if he's watching, but this message has been here for ages. Someone I talked to, Kernro, who I hope he is watching this, who actually is a mental health specialist, but unfortunately he is going through a bit of hard times at the moment, and he's also become a member. So Kernro, I hope you're okay. If you're in the chat, amazing, and I wish you nothing but the best, and we'll speak soon. One of my nearest and dearest, Lord of Acca, is in the building. I hope you're good and well. We obviously have Andrew Gregory, who I just mentioned. Tot Spurs, which I imagine is Glenn, big up to you. Phil Blondell, someone I haven't spoken to for a while. I hope you're good. Again, Ray the Yid, who is a very, very close friend of mine. Love you dearly, buddy, is in the chat. Ryan McFarland, who has been with us on every single one we do. Stuart, big up, buddy. I hope you're well. MZ, who is with Dave, who will be coming on shortly. Big up to you. Phil Hickin, I hope you are good, brother. I hope you are well. Shem, hello. Mark, I hope you're well. Colin, I hope you're well. Amir, I hope you're well. Shabbat shalom. George, sorry to hear that you've been struggling. Hopefully, like I said, this is just to show and spread awareness. It's something that is dominating men a lot, and it's something, like I said, this channel will always try to promote and spread awareness for. And again, one of my nearest and dearest, Craig Sullivan, in the building. Right, let's bring my guests on. So we have Tottenham on Tour's very own Dave. We have Darren Atwood, chairman of Worcester Spurs, and everyone knows this man, Mr. Cver. First of all, let's do a round table. Darren, how are you today, sir?
Not too bad, mate. Having a half-decent day for a change.
Good go. Well, at least you're having a half-decent day, which is better than not a decent day. Cver, my man, how are you?
Absolutely exhausted. Insomnia all week and 1 hour's sleep last night. But as you know, I really wanted to be on here because when Brian Daigle asked me to do something, I'd try and do it.
Oh, you say the nicest things. And I mean, you and me, Cver, obviously do a lot behind the scenes and try and support people. So it's always vital that you're part of this with me. And of course, I've got the newest recruit of Tottenham on Tour. We've got Mr. Dave with us. I hope you're good.
Yeah, I'm doing well and not too bad. And obviously, this is a really, really big thing for people. So I'm glad I can be a part of it. So thank you.
No, mate, listen, it's a pleasure. Right. There are 70 people in the chat right now. Thank you for joining us on your Friday evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. We have the cough in the back end man in the chat. everyone is going to go around and have a little conversation about what they've been going through. If you have any questions to anything that person is saying, put Q or at Brian, at Darren, at Cver, at Dave, and we'll answer it each at the end. And like I said, I hope you guys can take anything, but more than as much as super chats will be appreciated. If you can, if you want to, there's absolutely no obligation. What I would, or what we would as a channel appreciate more, is that this stream gets shared across social media, across your WhatsApp groups or anything, because like I said, this before we go any further, Tom, my man, thank you very much. Big up Brian and Tottenham on tour. Love you guys, love the channel. Been through low times in my late 20s, through the whole world is against me, but a special woman through, and she's now my wife. Never think you're alone. Well, that just sums it up perfectly. But like I said, the most important thing with this stream is please try and share it as much as you can. That's the main thing, to get this out here. So, you know what, I always start these things, because obviously I've done this before. The other three have, this is, you've got to remember as well, when people are commenting, this is people talking about things that really, really have affected them. This is really, really personal stuff. This is nothing, this stream, the only Tottenham thing that comes into this stream is the fact that it's the club that unites us. That's it. That is it as far for where this goes. So, right, I'm going to start, and I'm going to go a little bit back in time, since the last time we did this, so much has happened. So I'm first of all going to address a bit of an elephant in the room. The reason why I was back in London for 11 months, I think it was 11 months. My nearest and dearest know this, and I'm not going to go deep into it, because some of it I'm not prepared to kind of discuss. But let's just say the apartment building where I live, we have a landlord from hell, and his son, or their son, lives in the ground floor of this apartment building, and he's a con artist. He is a degenerate. He's just not a very, very nice guy, and he takes everyone in this apartment building for a ride. And he kept promising to do things for my mother-in-law in the house, never did it. Owes my mother-in-law a hell of a lot of money and keeps fobbing her off. And my family, my father-in-law, I don't even want to call him that, left this household and left my mother-in-law, my wife, and my sister-in-law in a horrible state when my wife was 14, and has had no contact with them since. So they've never had someone here to defend them or stick up for them. And as it has been documented, I have my addiction issues, I have my mental health issues. But one of the major things I have to deal with on a regular is I have a vile temper. People know me, everyone's seen me, I'm not the biggest of chaps. Mess me about and I turn into, I can't even describe what I turn into, and it's not pretty. And it got to the point where my landlord, for extra money, thought he could allow 2 crackheads to stay in his apartment and rent it out to them. So I had drug dealers bashing down this door, asking for, you name it. I kept trying to stick up for my family, and it got to the point where my favorite dog's a Rottweiler, and you will see that photo where it says the Rottweiler. It doesn't attack because it scares what's in front of it. It attacks for the love of the people behind it. And let's just say my violence started escalating, not towards anyone in my family, but at one point something happened, and I put my fist through every single window in our front of the house. And then I was going to do something very, very, very stupid to crackheads and landlord's son. So the decision was made by me and my wife that I need to get out of the country, because if I don't get out of the country, I'm going to ruin my marriage. I'm going to ruin my life, probably end up inside, never see my nephews and my niece, which people will know that follow this show or any show are my everything apart from my wife. So the idea was to come back home and work and earn as much money as possible to get me and my wife away from here as far as possible. So obviously came home from Toronto with this issue, came over. I landed in November, and early December, during the World Cup, my dad was rushed to hospital and was very, 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 very ill. My dad is my hero. My dad, who during all my addiction time, we couldn't be in the same room because we would fight. We just could not be in the same room. But the second I sorted my life out, no matter what, he was there for me. And our friendship and love now is so deep. So seeing my dad in that state completely, totally, and utterly messed me up. Couldn't work, couldn't function, couldn't focus. And again, my nearest and dearest, and it's people that are on this stream. It's people that I stream with. It's people. People don't want to believe that with my Levy. I'm going to mention my Levy Out group, but I'm not going into Levy. We get branded with a really bad brush. There's about 80, 90 people in that group. Family and loyalty and protecting each other means everything to them. And every single second of every single day, the messages were there. And I had to deal with my dad. So that came out. I had to look after him. Got a job. Started working, really enjoying it, making good money, sending money home when I can. And then obviously, I'm not going to mention his name. Cver will know where I'm going with this, but something ripped the YouTube community apart with a certain person admitting things he was doing for charity was not for charity and for his own gain. And due to that, the lovely world that is Twitter, because we all know how much of a cesspit Twitter is, came for me as an accomplice. I was in on it. I did this now. This person I flew halfway across the world for, to be by his bedside, to make sure his kids were okay, to make sure the mother of his kids were okay, to make sure his then partner was okay. Kept extending my stay here, or back home, sorry, in England. And my wife actually turned around once and said, "Why do you love him more than you love me?" And then I was like, "What are you talking about?" Obviously came back, and then that all broke. So I had to deal with that. And then obviously we have, and people will know, certain accounts, and I'll name one, Tottenham Tower, decided to make a beeline for me on every single thing you could. And it got to the point, not from Tower, but through affiliates or whoever it may be, decided that it would be appropriate to, on photos of my family out on my dad's 70th birthday, post pictures of outfits and saying, "Turn those trains on and get the ovens heated up." So listen, I know what I do in regards to Hotspur and what the book. Listen, I may be liked, I may be loved, I may be hated, but I never, ever make it personal. Ever, ever, ever make it personal. So again, obviously, mental health back then, I had a I'd actually say mini breakdown. It got to the part where I would be in bed, I would put my phone under my pillow, and I wouldn't look at my phone for 3-4 days, because if I didn't see it, it weren't happening. Hardly sleeping, just doing whatever. Serious thoughts entering my head, maybe violence, maybe falling off the wagon, which thankfully to this day I still won't. I won't give people the satisfaction of doing things like that. But obviously you have to deal with that. And then obviously me coming home to Canada, I had to come here. My wife and mother-in-law petrified that I was coming back to cause trouble. I was coming back here. My marriage was on the line. My marriage was basically hanging by a thread. When I went, it wasn't hanging by a thread. It was a right move, but because of everything that was going on, and I lost my job, that job at the hotel that I was talking about, I lost because of the reaction to everything that happened with the said YouTuber at the time. Thankfully, people like Ben Kaufman, who I've got in the chat, Cver. I'm not going to mention names like I could be here for ages. One person I will mention, who is very, very close to my heart and is obviously here, is Bobby Kay, who is a shining support to me when I'm over here. Coming back here was a huge challenge. I have to have it right now that if the landlord comes in, I go out. I can't be in the same room. I won't allow my family to talk about him whilst I'm here. And I've had to change a lot of things in my life. Oh, and I've also missed that my wife, I'm not going to go into details, had to have major surgery whilst I was in the country, or in England, sorry. And the very fact that I couldn't be by my wife's side, and people, again, like to speak about my nephews. My wife, I fell in love with her, 2000 when I first met her in Israel. This woman, I would kiss the ground that she walks on if I got paid for doing it. I'd do it anyway. I idolise this woman, and thankfully she met me during my drug, my alcohol, my vice, so she knows everything in my closet. There was nothing to hide, and she still accepts me. She has to deal with what comes with me. There's a lot of baggage that comes with me, whether it be through the believe out grief I get, whether it be my addictions, whether it be my mental health, whether it be my violence, which I will state now, I have never touched her, will never touch a woman, will never, ever. It's only people that are problems, never people I love, ever. But it's something I have to manage. And the way I've had to manage it is I literally, and my wife always asks me, I have to put my temper in a box, 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 and I have it right above my hip. And I look down every time I'm about to lose, I have to make sure that I can see it. And if I tell my wife I can't see it, she leaves me alone. She gets out of the way, or I'll go out until I can find it. Because if I let Pandora's box open, there's devastation, and it will just ruin me and everyone else. But getting back to being back here, everything was going well. My wife was absolutely amazed with me being the new me. Got back into work in January. And then from mid-January up until present day, and I know there's a lot of people, there's 126 of you in here now, so thank you so much for being with us. I have been struck down with some kind of illness that they still can't work out. But from January, and I can see my brother Ryan Isaacs is in the building. When he came over, first couple of days he was over here, he needed to get used to the jet lag, so we had afternoon naps. But during that time, I just kept needing to nap, and it got to the point after he'd gone, maybe early February, where I was sleeping probably 17 to 20 hours a day, either in one huge block or waking up, going to the toilet. Go to the toilet, felt like running a marathon, and I'd go back to sleep. When I first came back, I had issues falling asleep and had to be on sleeping pills. And then this has come up. I can't go out at all. If I walk more than 10, 15 minutes, I'm exhausted. I save all my energy up to go to the Scotland Yard, and obviously Sunday's the last game of the season, and I come back, it takes me 2.5 days to come to it. But what's been the biggest trigger right here, right now? And some of this is really embarrassing for me. So I am having blackouts in my memory. And when I say blackouts in my memory, I can be talking to Alana, my wife, and she can ask me to do something, or I say I'm about to do something. Within 10 seconds, I've forgotten the conversation even existed. I could be talking now, and then all of a sudden I'll stop. And people go, Brian, what was you about to say? And I have no recollection that I had even started a conversation. But the most worrying thing that's happening is obviously, unfortunately, my grandma, who died 10 days after I actually moved to Canada and had to fly straight back, had dementia. And my family have had, going back, suffer with it. So I can spot an alcoholic a mile away. I can spot the excuses. I can see it, and I know it. When you've been close to something, you start seeing it. And then my wife, God bless my wife, has realised that I have been snapping at her for the littlest things. Do you want a coffee? Bang, snap at her. For no, she's like, wait. I'm doing what my grandma was doing. I suffer with anxiety anyway, not so bad at the moment. But I realised that things are happening like my grandma. And then the most embarrassing thing that happened to me last week, as you can see, well, I don't know if people have recognised, I've had to change where this setup is from my bedroom, from the spare room to my bedroom, because there's stuff getting done in the other room. And where this layout is, the extension cable to link this meant that my wardrobe that's just here wouldn't open or close because the plugs and all the wires are in the way. And Ilana said to me, that's all right, we'll just get another extension lead. You'll get the extension cable onto the extension cable. And when she gave it to me, I could not work out for love nor money how to put a plug in the socket. I could not work out how to take a plug out, put a plug into the socket. I couldn't work out how to plug two extension cables to each other. And then I had a proper, again, mini breakdown. The next day I woke up at 7 a.m., went to bed at 8 a.m. UK time. Remember, there's 5 hours difference, so just do the maths. I went to sleep at 8 a.m. one night, and I woke up 4:30 in the morning the next day. I have a brain CT scan tomorrow, and one of the reasons when I went, I have had to go to a chronic disease clinic, and they're amazed, and it's baffled me as well. When I told them about my addictions and everything, and I told them what tests I've had for alcohol, my kidney, my liver, my internals, everything, they said, "What about brain scan?" I was like, "Never had one." They're like, "What are you talking about? Alcohol is the number one thing that's affecting the brain, and you should check." So I've now got that in my head. There's no end in sight at the moment. I can't work because I can't go to a job and say, right, listen, I need you to give me the hours that I'm awake. I might not retain the information. I might sleep through a day. I might fall asleep at work, and I can't retain any information. So obviously not being able to work right now. My wife has had to support me for about 3 years because I've been I'm still heartbroken from Booking.com closing, if I'm honest. And the thing that is, and obviously Twitter, I'll go back to Twitter. There's a lot of people in this world that believe if you can't see the illness, like you haven't got a broken leg, if you haven't got antibiotics, that it's man up or woman up, take your pills, do this, it will make you. It's not the case. It's not the case. So literally at the moment, like I said, the reason that you've seen Ben and Dave take over Morning Brews and Cockerel Doodle Doo is I can't commit to doing a live show. I was meant to be on Anger Management after Man City. I fell asleep at midnight, Canadian time. I woke up at 8:30 in the evening. Went up, so I got up, had something to eat, and I went back to sleep at 10 o'clock and slept another 12 hours. I am literally falling apart at the moment, and at the moment, all they're doing is process of elimination, and they can't work out what's wrong with me. Mental health is taking a huge beating because of it, and people are going. And like I said, thankfully, there's people in this chat that know everything. There are very, very close, near and dear people. It's not diabetes, one-yarmers in pajamas. Believe me, I have been poked and prodded and tested for everything. Thyroid, anemic. There's times where I can't move out of bed because my legs, the top part of my legs and my lower back feel like, when you've got a really bad bruise and you bash into it, no matter what happens, there's days I can't get out of bed or literally can't even move. So people, before I end off, and if Ben's found any questions there or whatever, this channel, one of the reasons this channel speaks about this is obviously with me, there is a sufferer of all these things. If it weren't for seeking counselling when I first got counselling, and I didn't think I needed it because I thought you had to be schizophrenic or bipolar or whatever. If you are having troubles, if you're struggling with anything, there are so many people available to talk to. It can be a close friend. It can be a parent. It could be a family member. It could be someone in the pub. It could even be you pick up the Samaritans. You pick up a crisis line. There are so many people. I help a lot of people, behind the scenes. I can't obviously give them medical advice, but I tell them my story. I tell them what I go through. Thankfully, this channel tries to promote it. And the amount of people who reach out to me after this, whether it's via Tottenham Tours email, whether it's via reaching me directly on social media, whether it's WhatsApp, listen, just remember, there's always help there. And I have always made sure that I will never, ever be afraid to speak out. Because if I didn't speak out, I would have either been in a mental health unit for the rest of my life, banged up for doing something stupid, or not even on this planet. So, and a lot of it is thanks to my friends, thanks to my family, and thanks to knowing that I get the right support network around me. So I'm going to finish my story there, and thank you everyone for listening. Like I said, we're going to let the others go. Actually, Ben, is there any questions before I move on to the next one for me? If there is, Ben, bring them up. If not, I'll just go on to that. George, no. This is they wanted to test for this. So when I first came back to Toronto, it's amazing how you can remember things. I have an uncanny memory for remembering things that happened around Spurs fixtures. I'm sure other people can do that, like you can with the music. There's a song that reminds you. I had got diagnosed or tested positive for COVID before the 2-0 win at Crystal Palace at the beginning of the season when we won during that 10-game unbeaten run. I didn't go to the Scotland Yard that time. I had it then for 3 days. I have been tested. It's all this started in January. They test or give what they can for it. It's definitely not long COVID. They thought it at one point, but from what the symptoms I'm showing, they're saying that it's not. But again, it could be. But yeah, Julius, from what they're saying, it's not long COVID. It's process of elimination. Next question, Ben. If there is one. If you don't put one up in 5 seconds, I'll move on to the next one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. I guess there's no question. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to you three about which one of you want to, if you want to go in order, if anyone wants to put their hand up and go next. Go on then, Dave.
Yeah, I can go next if you want, Brian. Obviously, appreciate you sharing that, mate. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, mental health at the moment, even though it's more widely known now, it seems to be still a stigma for people. And it's still very, what's the word? Very unknown because it's so vast, you know? There's not just a simple solution to what people go through. I myself, right, I suffer from anxiety. I suffer from health anxiety. And I did suffer from depression. Luckily, I managed to break that. But anxiety and health anxiety is what I go through on a daily basis. Now, when it comes to where it all started, I'm not going to go through a massive thing about how it all began, but a lot of things happened within my life that, triggered certain aspects to bring all this on. Recently, due to COVID, when COVID came around, that's when my health anxiety went basically completely and utterly, stratospheric or whatever the bloody word is. Yeah, it's a daily battle, you know, and people think anxiety is just a simple case of, you're feeling a bit anxious on a day or you're a little bit stressed. Anxiety is not left within your head. It's not something you can just go, never mind, forget about it. You also have physical symptoms of anxiety. Now, the physical symptoms are petrifying. If you haven't experienced a physical symptom of anxiety, you can't truly understand how someone feels when they wake up in the morning to when they go to bed. See, when I wake up, the first thing I do now is scan my body. So I make sure I check if I've got any new spots. I check if I've got any new moles. I check, my heart rate. I check everything, yeah? If I've got a new pain, that's it. My day's ruined. Because I literally crumble. Because my head tells me that I'm dying. Right? That's on a daily basis. With my anxiety, my main symptoms were a fast heart rate, yeah? So I'd sit there and my heart rate would be beating constantly from when I wake up to when I go to sleep, just super, super fast. I would be nervous. I'd have sweaty fingertips, which apparently I went to see a nurse about this, and she said, isn't it strange what anxiety can do to you because you've got no sweat glands in your fingertips? That was new to me, do you know what I mean? But my hands I'd have perspiration all the time. And when it first came round, I was about 17 years old. I'm 37 now, so you're talking 20 years ago. I ended up becoming agoraphobic over it because I didn't understand it. You know, no one around my family knew about it. Health professionals were very naive to it back then, 20 years ago. And I just got left to deal with it. I got put on tablets and things, and they never worked for me. You know, it was just a simple little quick, easy fix. You know, like a headache, you take a paracetamol, the headache goes away. With the tablets I was put on, for a short period, it'd go away, but then it'd come flooding back. Well, I ended up agoraphobic. I was agoraphobic for 3 years, which means I did not leave my house once for 3 whole years. I locked myself away, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a losing battle because I thought locking myself away would help me. Instead, it made me much, much worse. So my mental health deteriorated even worse then. I managed to break that mold, get out, you know what I mean? And, you know, but I'd avoid like large crowds. I'd avoid shops. I'd avoid people on the street. I'd only go out at certain times. I had like a routine where I'd go out at like 6 o'clock in the morning to go to a shop if I need anything. Because I knew at that point there'd be no one on the streets, there'd be no one in the shop. The shop's just opening. So it'd be empty. Through years and years and years, I kind of like, you know what I mean, got better at times, got worse. And then luckily I met MZ. As everyone knows, if you know me, MZ's my partner. And she's changed me a lot. You know, she's gave me confidence to battle things. She gave me confidence to, you know, kind of like be more than what the anxiety is. And I started researching things. I started looking at things. And the one thing I will say to anyone, if you've got anxiety, if you've got health anxiety, do not Google your symptoms. That is a rabbit hole you do not wish to go down. I did. And every day, the second I Google it, I was left in panic attacks. Now, if you ever experienced a panic attack, you can understand how bad they are. I was getting them 3, 4, 5 times a day. Now, Google is not the way to go, right? I know it's hard to not do that, but if you can, do not Google your symptoms. If you are worried, go see someone and talk about it, or go and get yourself checked out. I did. See, I have what's called cardiophobia. So I have a fear of my heart, and I get palpitations every day. So every single day I can feel my heartbeat. You're not meant to. But due to anxiety, I can. So I can feel when it's being slow, when it's being fast, everything. Now, with that, I've had my heart checked 3 times. My heart is fine. There's nothing wrong with my heart, but my head tells me there is. I also have other fears of blood clots, you know what I mean, strokes, cancer, everything. Yeah, that's what my head continuously tells me every day, that I'm going to get one of these. When you Google, you could Google, I stubbed my toe, and it will tell you you're either getting cancer or you're going to die. Yep. Google is the worst thing ever. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, I'm starting to do better with my anxiety. I can be honest with that. I'm doing really, really good with it. My last panic attack was, about 4 or 5 months ago. And I'll tell you that I can tell you the exact time I stopped my panic attacks, right? Is I was standing at the bottom of my stairs, and one came on, because that's what panic attacks do. They come on out of the blue. You have no warning. Anxiety attacks, you get warnings. Panic attacks, you don't. And I was waiting to pick my daughter up from school, and I was standing at the bottom of the stairs, and my heart rate just went skyrocketed. And I'm talking about at least 200 beats a minute, right? Which is like, as if that's like doing a full-blown sprint on a treadmill. At full pace, my heart rate was going through the roof. I got all the feelings, but I was there. I said to myself, you know what? No, I'm not going to get scared this time. Now, I've got a thing with MZ, and it's not a good thing to do. And I advise everyone, if you do this, try not to. MZ's kind of like my nurse. So if I get a fast heart rate, if I feel something different, she's basically my nurse, and she will check me over, right? And it's so stupid, and it's not good because it becomes a crux. But I got to check my heart rate, and it was, she said it's going like crazy, yeah? But I didn't let it deter me. I said to myself, no, you know what? I got in my car, I drove to the school, and it was horrible. I was twitching, I was sweating, I couldn't breathe. I got to the school, and I have to sit at the school for an hour because the parking around there is horrendous. For the whole hour, I was experiencing what's called the come down of a panic attack, yeah? So all my energy was that from my body. my whole body's twitching. So each muscle, because it's so contracted, it's now loosening up. It's twitching like mad. And you get what's called derealization, where everything feels fake. So I didn't feel like I was at the school. Everything felt fake. By the time my daughter come to the car, I was completely normal. Right? I was completely normal. I drove home completely fine, got in the house, went up in the room, and I locked myself away. Ever since then, I haven't had another panic attack. Because what I didn't do is show fear to it. And that's a massive thing, is if you show fear to anxiety and panic attacks, it feeds off that. If you give it a reason, it will carry on. Now, my health anxiety is hard to actually break. It's one of the hardest parts of the spectrum of anxiety to actually beat, because every day you can feel something within your body. And if your brain wants to latch onto that, it's a nightmare. So basically, that's that part there. And another thing I just wanted to say before I end, because I want to do this pretty quickly and just give my little story. I mean, if I wanted to go through the whole process of how all this begun and everything, do you know what I mean? It would be like hours and hours long. But I just wanted to say to anyone who does suffer from anxiety, the best thing you can do and what's helped me, and obviously I'm an individual, not everything works for everyone else. Tablets work for people, they don't for me. But the one thing I did was change the way I speak. Now, if you know someone with anxiety, they will always say, my anxiety. My anxiety is bad today. My anxiety is making me struggle. The way I did it was change my wording to where I now say, the anxiety is bad today, or the anxiety is making me struggle today. Anxiety is a symptom of a problem. Anxiety is not the problem. Every single person on this planet has anxiety within their body. It's a natural course of life. You have your fight and flight. So that's what I did. I started changing my word, and I started changing the way I speak, and started changing the way I look at anxiety within itself. So for me, anyone out there, if you're suffering with it, don't be quiet. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, every single person on the planet, whether you are a multi-billionaire to the poorest person on the planet, yeah? No one is different. Every single person has anxiety within their DNA. So for me, don't be afraid of it. You know, it's hard, it's tough, and it takes many, many years of dealing with it. I've been dealing with it for 20 years. So if you have to, go speak to someone. Don't fight it alone. There is people out there for you. I've got a great group around me. MZ is absolutely incredible. She's changed me amazingly. If you don't have anyone close for you, there is so many companies out there that I've used personally, like Mind. In Wales, we have another one called Havod, who are absolutely incredible. But go speak to someone and don't fight this alone, because you aren't alone. You're not the only person who suffers from this. I'm sorry to be a bit blunt on this, but this is what someone from Havod told me, and it like kind of changed my thought process. With anxiety, you are not special. You are not the individual. You are not alone. Everyone has it. It's just people like myself and others where it's exaggerated within ourselves. We just suffer more with it, type of thing like that. But it can be beaten, it can be overcome. It can be beaten and can be overcome. And I just want to say one thing. When I was younger, basically, I tried to, do the deed. I tried it twice. It wasn't a great time for me when I was depressed. And yeah, I'm here today, and I'm lucky enough to sit with some fantastic people who are going to tell you their stories, and been able to tell my own story, because luckily, according to the hospital at the time when I got taken there, I was too fat at the time to let the things that I had taken do anything to me, which was, not nice. And the other time, luckily, my mum called the police on me, and they broke down a door and stopped me from doing it then. So I'm here today telling my story, just like these amazing people are, and everyone in the chat. Do not ever feel like you have to give up, because there is a time where you will do better and better and better, and you can do what we're doing, or you can just enjoy life, because life is not over until it is. So while you're breathing, while you're thinking, while you're speaking, while you're laughing, while you're doing anything, you are still here and you can still live. So yeah, there's my story. I'm going to pass it over to everyone else.
Dave, first of all, appreciate everything. If we'll see if we've got any questions. I've got a couple of things to say before we do that. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm a great believer in metaphors and everything. I have a tattoo. When I went into alcohol rehab, the rehab said to me, think of a slogan or a saying that where you are now, where you want to be. And I said, never let a past nightmare stand in the way of a future dream. That tattooed on my leg when I went 5 years clean. I will say once again, whenever we do these, the chat, and there's 192 of you in here, 190, or up until a minute, it was a good spot. It wasn't the volunteers, but you always get one idiot that comes in and tries to be clever. Once again, what we do is powerful and means a lot to the 4 people here. Speaking out in public about this is a very daunting thing because obviously, remember, this on YouTube, this is potentially available for anyone on the planet. Have some respect. And I will say the chat, as always, 99.9999% have been absolutely fantastic. I can see someone in the chat by the name of Sophie. Anything she puts, please take on board. This woman studied to become in the mental health profession. It's his wife. She's one of the most incredible women you could ever wish to meet. And all that woman wants to do is always help and be there for people. So if she puts any resources or anything in there, please take what Sophie says seriously because she is talking from a person in the knowledge. Ben, before we pass over, were there any questions for Dave? I'm going to count to 5 each time you bring.
Yeah, there's one on the screen now.
There you go.
Right, Tom, yes, thank you for asking the question, mate. Right, mine's a bit of a weird one. Now, basically, I've got to tell a bit of a story here, so sorry if I drag on.
This is what it's about.
But basically, when I was 15, something happened to me. I don't need to say it, but someone, basically a female, a lot older than me, got me blackout drunk, and basically, yeah, I woke up not knowing what happened, effectively, right? So I think you can gauge what happened. Now, from then, that's when depression hit, because around me, everyone thought it was funny. Everyone thought it was basically, it was one of them passings of a man, one of them things. I didn't. It affected me massively. And it kind of like, when I got, like, when I was at home and dealing with it on my own because everyone else thought it was funny, I had a father who at the time was a complete and utter alcoholic, right? And I couldn't do anything within my own house. I couldn't go and get drink. I couldn't do anything because he would scream, shout at me, say explicit things to me, and basically try and physically harm me. My dad now is fantastic. I love my dad. He is such a completely different person. He's no longer that person there, and I will not have anything bad about him, right? Basically just putting that out there. My depression kicked in, and that's when I locked myself away with the agoraphobia, the anxiety, and everything like that. My depression ended, and it sounds so stupid, but when someone says, like, a light switch is on within the head, right? For me, I was sat in my bedroom window, and I stared outside, and I seen a younger cousin of mine getting out of a car from learning, right? She was just learning. I seen it then. I said to myself, it just kind of like the light bulb came in my head, and I said to myself, what the hell am I doing? I've let 3 years of my life pass me by, completely did nothing for 3 years. And I looked out our window and I see my little cousin, who wasn't the best of people, getting out of a learner car. So I just literally said to myself, you know what? I've had enough of this. I am sick to death of it. I am done with this life. I passed my test before she did. And ever since then, it's been a constant. Just keep trying and trying and trying. It is hard. Depression is annoying. I still get depressed sometimes, but the way I deal with it now is it's depression. Yeah, that's what it is. I sit down and figure out what's put me into that position. Yeah, I sit there and say to myself, what caused me to feel like this? I find the root cause, and then I deal with it. I sit down and think, why am I letting this root cause affect me? Yeah. So that's how I'm dealing with depression. It's still there. I mean, I still wake up every day wishing I didn't. You know what I mean? Them thoughts are always there. Emsy knows this. She's heard me many a time. But I carry on. I just carry on and carry on and carry on. And even though it's hard, and even though you will struggle, and you will have setbacks, I've had many a setbacks. You will get to that point. It's just about constantly trying, never giving up. People with anxiety fight the hardest fight in life. That's the fight with yourself. So for me, that's what I did. And honestly, I think it was it Tom who put the comment? No, who put the comment? Sorry. Yeah, Tom. Honestly, I hope and pray that you find your way out of this. Do not give up. No matter how hard your day starts, no matter how hard your day ends, wake up the next day and fight that. Keep fighting and keep fighting. And I hope you come at the end of it, man. I hope to see you in a year's time telling me that you are doing a hell of a lot better. If we do this next year, I hope I see you in the comments, mate, and your life is completely changed. But don't give up. That's the one thing, is never to give up. So yeah, I'll pass it on. I'm sorry.
Right, well done, David. And as Ben just put there, I saw that in the you
Love
have
you,
been
man, mate.
a breath of fresh air to Tottenham on tour. It's great to have you on the channel. It's great that you felt so comfortable to open up. It's an incredible thing that we're all doing. And again, there's now 201 of you in here. So thank you for spending your Friday evening, afternoon, or morning with us, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Cver or Darren? Who wants to go next?
I don't mind.
I don't know if I'll be able to put it as well as you two guys have.
Darren, listen, mate. Listen, like I said, let me just say, I've known Darren for a very long time. We met through a mutual friend, and I know Darren very, very well. Darren does a lot of his talking via his social media, whether it be his Facebook, whether it be his Twitter. But he came on Tottenham on tour once before, and we had to cut the stream short because I had to get to my nephews. So this is the first time he's opening up and talking about it. So this is a huge thing for Darren. So everyone just bear with Darren. Take it. If you need to stop at any time, break, whatever it is, just say so and we stop. It's that simple, buddy.
Cheers, mate. Chatting about anxiety is I can relate so much to what's just been said. Mine kicked in sort of. I'm 49 now. Started about 9 years ago, I think. Hit the 4-0, trying to burn the candle at both ends and do a 12-hour night shift and go to football. Have a shower and just get out all day, and life's too short to sleep and stuff. And I travelled one day, picked my son up, got stuck in traffic with an accident, and then another accident, and basically I bit my knuckles so hard while I was driving. I drew blood, and I just felt like my head was going to explode, and I pulled into a garage forecourt, rang the wife. It didn't make any sense. Gave the phone to the guy behind the counter in the garage forecourt, and between him and the wife, they got an ambulance out to me, and yeah, I had just triggered just exhaustion, but that's what triggered my anxiety straight after that, and it's never been something that I've been able to get over. I've fought through it and I've learned things, but and then since then, so that was in 2015. 2016, was lucky enough to marry Andrea, and she's just amazing. She's been there for me. She's always there for me. And I had another episode late in 2016 with anxiety again, exhaustion. And then sort of managed to fight it off for a couple of years, and then COVID hit. Still working during it. Obviously, I'm a printer, so we produce food packaging. So worked all the way through COVID. when was it? So about November 2020. It was during one of the sort of breaks between, when you could socially distance and stuff. We went away for a night, and I came back, and that evening I didn't feel great, and again I started to ramble, and the wife just straight away she rang an ambulance, and I had my overnight bag still with me, and the paramedic put it in my hand and said, we need to go now. My blood pressure was about 240 over 180. Face was dropping. I was, on the way to a massive stroke or a heart attack. Luckily, I didn't have one. Still can't believe that, it didn't happen. And then 3 weeks later, I had a full mental health breakdown. And the wife, luckily, she works in crisis, Worcester NHS crisis team, so she could see my. I started. She'd gone to work, and I started several things. I was painting a skirting board. I was changing a light bulb, cooking tea. Started several jobs and didn't finish one, and just sat there and cried, and broke down. And I got seen by a nurse, great guy, Arsenal fan, but a really good lad. 15 years younger than me, and they wanted to section me, but due to COVID, he said, I think it's probably better you get checked and seen at home. So I had 6 weeks with a mental health team at work, at home, sorry, and they kept coming in every day. I went through my life from, first days that I can remember all the way up to now. Beat myself up about a lot of things. My son, he's 21 now, but I've spent 20 years of his life traveling whenever I have had a chance to see him. And just basically I was beating myself up about things that happened 20 years ago. And so it was a difficult time. Touching on the anxiety and depression, when you have anxiety, you worry and care about everything. When you have anxiety, you worry and care about everything. And when you have depression, you worry and care about nothing. And having them both together, it's just impossible. You can't go anywhere. It's like a magnet. They just don't mix, and they repel each other. And I don't remember those 6 months. In truth, I had 6 months off work, and it was just the hardest time ever. I went through again CT scan on my brain, my spine. My sister has MS, so an increased risk of the chances of MS. They luckily came back clear, and I managed to fight my way through it, stood up to it, trembling. I went back to work, and managed to get back into a routine of doing my job and stuff like that. And then since then, I've had bouts of, I still get panic attacks in the night. Doing 30 years worth of shift work is not ideal when you can do it when you're younger. I've had 8 weeks off in 22 with shingles. Worst bout of shingles I've ever. My whole of my left arm, my shoulder, my back, it was just covered, and that was painful. And again, it just anxiety, nerve system. And then 3 months ago, I coming home from Crystal Palace game on the supporters club coach, and I'd had I've had blood pressure and cholesterol issues again, and I eyes rolled in the back of my head, and I blacked out on the coach, smashed my head on the dashboard of the coach, ended up under the driver's feet, smashed my teeth, my head, my neck. So that was 10, 11 weeks ago, and I've blacked out from blood pressure issues, spiking high, dropping quickly, all that sort of thing. Just triggered the anxiety again. Dry retching from it ever since. The sweating, overanalyzing everything, preempting what's going to happen with the future, lying in bed in the middle of the night thinking, have I upset anybody? Everything I've said in the day before, going over every conversation, everything I've said to people, worrying about what people think of me when I know deep down it's people that really, are not relevant. You can't make everybody. I try to help people, obviously, with the supporters club and doing a lot. And I've got a great bunch of them. They're brilliant around me. I'm currently still off work, gone through occupational health, and going from the GP at the moment, just, whether I can actually go back to work. So scared of, will I black out again if I'm up on the machine? Just everything about it has scared me and triggered the anxiety really, really badly. I used to be somebody that would bottle everything up, but to get through it, I have learned to, like you say, I have learned to speak on social media. And again, but then I think sometimes I've deleted many a post thinking people are thinking it's attention seeking, stuff like that, but it's not. I've learned to speak. I've learned to, if I am having a really dark day, I try and I getting used to the positives of every day. Just I learned during the breakdown, touch 3 things, see 3 things, smell 3 things.
That's incredible.
That I appreciate the sunshine more than ever. This last week is 2-3 weeks ago, North London Derby Day. Obviously, I got to a point where I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't even watch the game on the TV. I dosed myself up with tablets and made myself sleep. I'm emotional. You could probably tell in my voice a bit. I'm a bit uptight. It's just, and people say to you, oh, don't worry about it. It's not that simple. It's a vicious circle. You fight one thing off, another anxiety symptom starts, and so it goes on, and you go round and round in circles. To set myself little jobs, even if I just go over Tesco's, which is 500 yards away, or any other shop, should I mention, and just get some milk or feel like I'm helping the house. It's a plus for me. It's just been a long ride, and I'm still going through it now. And I think I've joined, Andrea got me involved with a Worcester men's walking and talking group, which just an hour every Thursday evening, and you just chat to guys you've never met before, and they're going for the same thing as you. And it's really helped me. I've looked forward to it so much, just to, the old problem shared, problem halved. I've missed the 1 week because I couldn't get out of the house. I literally didn't feel up to it. But I would say this week, out of the last 7, this is, and I'm putting it down to the sun, and I'm putting it down to a bit of getting out, doing a bit of gardening. I've been cooking, and just trying to make myself little targets each day. But it's a long road. I think people don't understand. They think anxiety is just something that comes and goes in a split second. They don't realise how debilitating it can be. Like you said before, I can wake up more tired than when I went to sleep. Mentally exhausted, and it just constantly goes round. I take beta blockers, blood pressure, cholesterol, antidepressants. I've tried binning them off, and then all I end up is back at square one. So it's a case of taking your medicine. But I've learned so much about myself and my own body, and certain trigger points, and where to put myself. Square breathing, we've heard it all. But panic attack, I religiously go to bed with a glass of water so that I can sip and gulp. Because if I feel like I can't sip and gulp, and you have a panic attack during the night, that's the way I'll get through a panic attack, is by closing my eyes and having a swig of water, saying, you're not having a heart attack, you're not dying, you can gulp, you can do this. And yeah, it's just, also really emotional about the slightest, silliest little things, but I've learned to put it out there and just, if it helps one person, I've done some good. That's how I have to face it. And I'm getting through this anxiety attack now. I think, like I say, it's been 6-7 weeks and it's not been great. I'm hopefully coming to the end of this. And I know it's always there, and it's always in the back of my head that it'll come back. But I think up there as men, we still think, we're still in our 20s, 30s, we're young men, but we're not, we're getting older. And it's not easy to accept sometimes. And I think that's, I'm not a massive fan of the modern world, technology, everything about social media. And I know we all enjoy it and we all do it, but it's toxic. And I wish I could. I'm so pleased I had the youth that I had. Kids today, without the internet, they would be lost. They would never understand what we did. But I'll keep going back to my youth and thinking of good times and good things, and it helps. And I've got a fantastic family. I've got a lot. I'm married. I've got my son. I've got 2 stepsons. It's very challenging. Elliot, Andrew's youngest, is autistic. He never leaves the house. He has epilepsy. Got the mother-in-law with dementia living with us. So we have a challenging house to live in, and it takes its toll on all of us. But Andrew's still, she's just tough as old boots. I shouldn't say that to her. She'd probably kill me. But she wears the trousers. Basically, she's she's fantastic. And without her, I wouldn't be here. She's saved my life a couple of times, and I couldn't have got through it without her. But I have talked, and I have tried to get through it that way. And hopefully I'm coming at the end of this anxiety attack. Like I said, it's 7-8 weeks, whatever it is. The fear of the unknown, and the fear of what's to come. And again, you mentally process it. You come to 8 different conclusions, and you always come to the worst case scenario. And it is debilitating. It's a horrible, horrible thing, anxiety.
Yep.
And it's easy, like I said, it's easy for people to think, just get over it. But unless you've actually had health anxiety and stuff, you can't explain it. It's every day, just something else will pull you back. You think you're 3 steps forward and 5 steps back the next day. And but I've got more confidence just talking about it now. And at the start I was struggling, but it's just flown a bit better than I thought it would. But sorry if I've rambled on. But
Not at all, Darren, mate.
yeah, just I'm getting there, and I'll say little things. Talking to somebody is the biggest, and again, I have typed out so many in my head, typed out so many statuses or tweets, in my head, lay in bed in the middle of the night, and it feels so clear in my head then, and then you get up and it's you've forgotten it and something else is playing on your mind. It's a dark hole, and a lot more men need to, obviously and women suffer, but I think women are better at showing their emotions than men as well. And we're always, you want to man up and do this, but it's not easy. But coping mechanisms are there, and you will learn so much. I've learned in the last 4 years so much about me, and who I am, and what I'm about. And when I'm struggling, I need to just take a step back and slow down a little bit and fight it. And that's what you can do. But you've got to talk. If you don't talk, you're in a, you need to express. And like I said, if it helps one person, you've done your job by opening up a bit. So that's where I'm at the minute. But I'm coming through it.
Darren, all I have to say is big up to you. And listen, I'm going to say now, you were saying that you were nervous of doing this. You've just done that in front of 216 people that are watching live right now. Who knows how many people watched it before?
Yeah.
I know someone in here who's even posted, and he's posted it, so I'll say it. One of my very dearest friends, Ray the Yid, has got social anxieties. He's posted it on this, and just hearing you has helped him. You've probably seen there is so much love for you in these comments. I don't know if you've been able to see it whilst you've been talking, but if you watch it back, you'll see.
One thing with anxiety I'm struggling with, you see I've got these on.
Yeah.
Blurry vision as well. I don't know if anybody else. Even
I've got it right now. I've got it right now.
Yeah. It's a little bit blurry. The light's fading a bit as well. So if I'm helping anybody, then I feel like it's been positive, and I'm pleased, and thank you for the support and giving me the chance to do this and share it, because it means a lot to me, and in my fight and everybody else's, so yeah, appreciate it.
And Dan, we have got a question for you, but before Ben brings it up, I just want to say to you, when you spoke about the things you put on social media and you worry about being attention seeking, do you know what I learned? I used to put things on social media that was attention seeking. Like if I got pissed off and I was in a bad mood, I used to put stuff like, "Oh, if you play with fire, you get burned. Don't play games." And then everyone goes, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And then you go, "I'll DM you." That's attention seeking.
Yeah.
What I have learned from this is when I've been told that getting it out there is obviously some way to get out. Me talking about this and you talking like you just have, and Dave talking like he just has, and Cver, believe me, it's not you are speaking from a position of strength. It's not a position of weakness to say that you're prepared to put that out there. Like I said, you've just done this in front of 218 people, Darren, and you and me have known each other for a good few years, and we've spoken about doing this before. And like I said, thanks to Andrew, Gregory, and Graham reminding me it was Mental Health Awareness Group. There was no Mental Health Awareness Week. There was no way I weren't going to try and put it on this week.
Yeah.
And what you have just done, and I don't mean to be you should be damn proud of yourself. Damn proud of yourself. And like you mentioned, that walking club, there's also, if people don't know, and you can check it near you, there's something called, I think it's Andy's Man's Club. Or what? Yeah. Is it Andy's Man Club, Darren? I think it is Andy's, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot in especially in the Midlands now. It's just called, if you go on Instagram or whatever, it's Men's Walking and Talking, and there's groups in every town popping up now, and it costs you nothing. They have a meeting point in each town, and you just go there. Mostly, I think it's a Thursday evening, 7:30. for Worcester, and we just meet and we just walk about 4 miles. Takes just over an hour, and every week there's a different guy. Or I've met so many different people. I've been put into a group chat, WhatsApp group chat, and we just talk. And somebody's going through cancer issues and stuff. Something I didn't mention. I've got a mark on my face at the moment, and so I've got to have a biopsy on my face for possible skin cancer. Hopefully, it's nothing. But that didn't help the anxiety. That's come at the same time. So we all go through different things at different times. Life's a challenge, isn't it? And life's got harder and harder. But I'm just being positive with it, and that's all I can be. And get up every day. I don't know about you guys, but I write myself a little list. So, like for tomorrow, I will say, right, tomorrow I'm going to either clean the car or cut the lawn. Just little targets, but it makes it into a positive day if I've hit the target. However menial it means, it just means that I've done something good in that day, and I've helped the house, or I've kept something tidy. I've been cooking the tea. I'm turning into a master chef at the minute.
I wish I could.
Nobody's had food poisoning yet.
You haven't served lasagna yet, have you, Darren? You haven't served
not
lasagna.
lasagna. No, I'm not a fan.
Can I just say one thing, Brian?
Yeah, go on, buddy.
Right. So, Darren, this is the first time we've ever interacted on this show right now, yeah? And this is the ultimate proof that when you talk about things, you can connect with people you don't know who could be so similar. What you just said about everything that you're going through, I'm going through the exact same when it comes to anxiety and health anxiety. If we never interacted, we would never know, either me or you are going through that. And this is this is the point about talking.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we are connected now via the fact that you're going through health anxiety and anxiety. I'm going through the same. I've got the blurry vision. I haven't got my glasses on because I'm actually okay with the lighting and everything now.
Yeah.
And I'm going through the anxiety. I go through the panic attacks.
Yeah.
Because we've had this conversation and because this show has come on, the people in the chat are connecting with people. We've connected. And that's the biggest thing you can do is speak about it. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
Don't do this alone. And that's the biggest thing. So I just wanted to point that out,
Yeah. When you mentioned about the sweating and stuff, I recall during my breakdown, one of the biggest and strangest, I would get up in the morning and I would literally, I couldn't put a pair of jeans and a top on because I would be soaked from head to toe. Straight, I was knocking around in a t-shirt and a pair of shorts around the house because of the sweating, and that in itself. I don't know if you get the cold, like goosebumps, cold flushes across my top half of my body, sensitive
brain zaps.
Yeah, brain zaps.
Yeah, I got
There's
all that.
a long list of anxiety symptoms that are, like you say, are physical, and people just think anxiety is just, you're a bit uptight. I'm not a bit uptight. I'm struggling. The mind's a really powerful thing, and you got to learn about it, and you got to learn about yourself and what your trigger points are, because it can be so debilitating. And as Brian was saying about sleep, I mean, on my antidepressant that I was on, I could sleep 10, 11 hours, get up, go to the toilet, have a cup of tea, and then go back to bed for 11 hours. Not a problem at all.
Yeah.
I just feel like a zombie, and I'm just existing. I don't want to exist. I want to, like you say, while you're breathing still, I want to enjoy the time I'm on this planet.
Yeah.
I would love to be. I joke. I don't know if I'm a bit older maybe than some of you, but do you remember the old Mr. Soft advert and the blokes walking down the road? And I would love to be that type of person where I'm so laid back, and I wish I was as laid back as Basuma, because he's going to fall over like one of these days. He's that chilled. nothing, you know.
Yeah.
He's got one. He's got
Level,
one,
just
one level. And
yeah.
but I get uptight and worry about things that I have no control over.
Yeah.
It's just the way I am. I'm just an uptight, anxious person, and
Yeah.
when it gets bad, it gets really, really bad.
Because it's the adrenaline as well, isn't it? When anxiety kicks in, your body gets pumped full of adrenaline, like you're about to fight a big, massive bear. You're sitting down watching TV.
Yeah.
They're the physical symptoms. When you're saying about the sweating and everything, I remember once I had a panic attack, right? It was the dead of winter. I stood at my back door, right? And sorry to put this image into people's heads. I do apologize. I was starkers, right? But I had literal steam coming off my body in the dead of winter because it heated up that much. The physical symptoms, like you're saying, Darren, are completely debilitating. And it's not just the physical symptoms. You cannot be anxious. Like now, you see me, I'm smiling, I'm happy because luckily for me, I'm at the part of my life now within this process where I'm actually, I'm less anxious. I'm less worried about things. I'm starting to learn things, but I'm still getting them symptoms. I'm not got like the full blown, like you're saying, where your body's filled with anxiety. You're in that fight and flight on the daily. I'm not in that, but I still get the physical symptoms. They last. The ectopic heartbeats, the sweating, the waking up, the trying to sleep, and you get that jolt. I can't remember what the word is for it, but when you're about to sleep and your whole body just jolts you awake.
Yeah.
You're getting that while you're just watching TV and stuff, and it's like, but no, it's really nice that, you know what I mean, Brian put this on, and people like me and yourself can sit here because you feel less alone, even though people go through it. When you hear someone else talking about it,
you
it
can
just
relate.
gives you that little bit like they understand, they know exactly. It's not some healthcare professional who's read it in a book.
So
It's
just very
someone who's
quickly,
going through it.
just very quickly, I don't know if this was just a coincidence or Tom has heard about this through you, Darren. Maybe Tom can put that in the chat, but we've now got someone that's now joined it in Nottingham.
Yeah.
So when you talk about helping one person, like I said, there's 235 in here now. If Tom can put in the chat whether it's through this or whatever, but now there's one. But I do want to move on. We've got one question for Darren, and then we'll go on to Cver. So Darren, it's come from Tom, funnily enough. Question to Darren, if he's happy to answer, have you had therapy or counselling or similar? If so, how did you get on with it? And like I said, if you want to answer it or not.
Yeah, I've had counselling in the past through my work. Luckily, they put me onto it, and I've taken things away from it. I found it difficult. I found it. I found a lot more beneficial when I spoke to the mental health team. When I had my breakdown, and they, for 6 weeks, I went through every brick of my life from start to finish. Whereas with counselling sessions, you have a limited amount of time, but they do help you with certain things. You have like an in and out tray. Top, middle, and bottom, the most important things, because with anxiety as well, I could have several bills downstairs to pay, but I could owe that one person a £5 and it would play on my mind until I've paid them, and the one thing I also like, the hardest place to be is alone with your own thoughts, and that is it's a really hard place to be, especially middle of the night if everybody's asleep. You're sat there in the dark. I've been there many a night, and never had a plan or anything to actively take my life or anything like that. But I've been in a room and sat there and thought, my son, my wife, and other people would be better off without me, and that's hard. That's hard to take and hard to explain. But counselling, I'm not keen on the counselling. There's only so much, because we're all different. I found speaking to mental health experts was better for me, and they could see because you go. I went through that. I split up with my son's mother when he was very young, and he lived at the other end of the country. So every fourth week, I would go up for a week and see him and do dad things, pick him up from school, take him to school, take him swimming. And I went through it all with the mental health team, beat myself up that I hadn't been a good dad and hadn't been there for him. And now, I mean, he's 21 now, he's just passed his driving test, and I've given him the Tottenham bug, unfortunately. I've given him a life of misery. But
Yep.
but we've got such a good relationship. And when, you know, the mental health team said to me, why are you beating yourself up over, they said, from what we can, you're telling us, you've been an amazing dad, because the amount of men that walk away, don't see the kids and stuff, you know, and I didn't have that spin on it, because I didn't have that positivity about myself. So counselling can help some people. Like I said, I think I've taken everything that I need to from counselling. If anything happens now, I have my own coping mechanisms, but if it is bad, then I will straight away pick the phone up to the mental health team that got me on record, and again, talking.
Well, Darren, you mentioned it, and what I will say very quickly is you mentioned the Man's Club, the Walking Club.
Yeah.
And I posted the link for Andy's Man's Club. Maybe sometimes people find it hard to speak to someone they know because it's admitting it. So doing these things, like Tom's just joined, no one needs to know. You can unload on someone, like-minded people that are going through the same issues. There's no worries that you might have a friend that doesn't understand. It's all people of the same spot. So maybe that is easier. And like you said, you found it a very, very positive thing and something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And there's probably so many people in the same
boat.
boat.
You're talking to other men with similar issues, whereas when in a counselling session, you're talking, no disrespect, but a lot of the time it is to a lady that you don't know. Whereas, you know, speaking to a female that you don't really know, it isn't the easiest thing. Whereas speaking to other men, you know, about men issues is a bit easier. And you're walking at the same time, you're getting fresh air, the sun's out, you know, and I found it has helped me in the last 3-4 weeks I've been doing it. So, yeah, counselling, give it a go if you feel it's beneficial. But again, you don't get a lot back from them. You know, they let you take centre stage a little bit, whereas I like the interaction a little bit back and forth with somebody that's going through similar. But it works for different people. So that's what I would
There's
say.
another question for you, Darren. One final question. We'll go to Cver. The wonderful Sophie, who's multitasking and doing everything, just said, Darren, is that the crisis team when you say mental health team? Sorry, I dropped out of the chat for a bit of washing up. She's superwoman, this woman.
Yeah, my wife works for Worcester NHS mental health for Mind. Well, it has been Mind, and mental health crisis team. And there's a number. I don't know off the top of my head. Can ask her, and we could post it if you wanted to, and for future on a future podcast or something. But yeah, she, like I said, just a couple of weeks ago, we were going to an appointment and driving, and a lad was sat on the railway bridge, and straight away my missus goes into work mode, and she's like, he's in crisis. She said, turn around. I said, well, I can't, there's cars behind me. I had to drive like 3/4 of a mile, turned around, got back there, and 2 workmen had basically dragged this lad off this bridge, and several drivers had gone past and reported it to the police. So then the police turned up. This lad was in no fits. He did not want to speak to the police at all. But Andrea took him around the corner and sat him down, and for about 2.5 hours just talked him down from a crisis face to face, you know, and she's trained to do it. She basically saved him and got him the help he needed, and she took him up to her work and handed him over to one of the mental health professionals there, and I'm so proud of her, you know.
So should be.
You know, she amazes me every day, what she does, what she goes through, you know, answering the phone to, you know, all walks, people from all walks of life, all have different issues, you know, and she saved so many people, including me. So,
Well,
I'm
it's
a lucky man.
unbelievable, Darren. And you should, like I said, Darren, for your first time and unloading like this,
Yeah,
you should be the love you've got in this chat has been incredible. And I will say before I hand over to
the weight
Cver,
off my shoulders now
there
compared
you
to
go, mate. That's it. That's
talking
it.
is.
That's it. And when we do the next one during the summer, when you come on to do it,
Yeah.
you'll feel a lot more relaxed. You feel a lot more, and that's what it's all about. But before I hand over to Cver, I just want to say what also brought this on was I just want to say, and I think it needs to be said, a massive big up to Norwich City Football Club and Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah.
Doing the two videos that they've done. And I just wish the other 92 clubs or the other 90 clubs within the Football League could take some inspiration from that, because things like this, there's no rivalries. This is a common thing around the world.
Yeah.
And especially in England, as I know. So let's hope more Premier League teams, Football League teams do. And Cver, the mic is yours, buddy.
You know what? All day, even all week, I've actually been dreading this in a way. I'm listening to the things Darren and David had said tonight, and it resonates with me. I didn't realise how much I suffer from anxiety as I do now. Just listening to it, I'm so I don't even know how to explain how I feel half the time. That's the trouble. It's frustrating as well. I've got this feeling in my chest, like my heart's going at a million miles an hour. It's kind of this vibe, really sort of shaking feeling, and I'm going about to black out. Oh my God, am I going to die now? And I'm getting that all the time lately. I never used to. That's been a recent thing for me. What I have had all my life is depression, though, even from the age of 6, and for no reason. There wasn't any sort of incident that happened when I was young. It's just there. That's something a lot of people don't understand as well. Sometimes there's no obvious cause of it. It just happens. Your brain plays funny tricks on you all the time. But some of the things tonight that I'm really, really proud of Darren coming on like that, unloading the way he did. David is a master at disguising it. I can see that. I recognise that all the time. But Darren, yeah, coming on, unloading all that stuff like that. You're right. I remember when I first did it, the weight comes off your shoulders. It's sharing the experiences and knowing other people out there are an immense source of strength. Really are. Knowing you're not alone in this sort of battle. So many people going through it. My experience all week, like I said, I was dreading it. I've all the way through the week, simple things like I'm wide awake through the night watching things on YouTube because I can't sleep, and I see the alarm clocks ticking on towards 7. I know it's going to go off soon. I know I have to get the kids up ready for school, and I'm dreading it. And I'm thinking, Christ, can I not even do this? So the day starts with me getting up myself thinking, I am this worthless piece of shit. Can't even get up in the morning just to get my kids ready for school. Or there's a form I've got to fill out today. There's one I had on Monday I had to fill out. It's still there on my desk. I can't do it. I just can't face it. The thing people won't, a lot of people that know me will know I'm always joking. I'm always laughing around on YouTube. Never like to take it too seriously, but it's a bullshit. It's just a mask. It's pretend. Absolute self-medicating need for having a laugh and surrounding myself with people I like and I'm relaxed with. If people might notice it, if ever I do get pushed on an argument, I start crumbling. I can feel my tear ducts welling up. I can't handle it. I don't know where I want to go with it. Because it's not what they're arguing about that's affecting me. It's all the stuff that I've rammed down, deep down inside me, that I don't know how to deal with it. And when we come out and start breaking down on streams or to other people, or the emotions come out, It's a standard bloke thing to think this is a sign of weakness. I shouldn't do this. Man up. I must push it down, get on with it, pretend nothing's wrong. I'm okay. The usual one. The trouble is we all have that limit. There's only so much any human can take on board. That when you get to that full point, things are going to start spilling out. Your everyday life is affected constantly. And the anxiety, I've never experienced anything like this week. When you say debilitating, my God, you're right. It's you could get on better with having 2 broken legs than dealing with the anxiety. You really could, because you can sort of focus on what the cause of the pain with a broken leg. When it's in your mind, where do you go with that? How you can't sort of delve in there and stick a band-aid on it. It's not going to go away either. And this is the thing that took me back tonight when you're saying you can have depression and anxiety at the same time. And I just thought, oh my God, I've literally been denying that I've got an anxiety. And I realise now I have. All the things you said, the sweating, the blurred vision, the heart rate going. I mean, I don't know if you get like pains in the arms suddenly and things like that.
Yeah.
I think, oh God, is this a heart attack? Then I realise
they don't mix either. Anxiety and depression just does not mix. That's when your head just that's a breakdown waiting to happen. That's when you need to talk.
Absolutely. But the trouble is, even though I know all these things, and even though I can advise other people on, go and seek help or put them onto getting them on the line of going to see a counsellor or speak to their GP. I'm really good at telling other people to do it, but I'm bloody awful at doing it myself. I will sit there and put it off. I'll actually think I can't go to the doctor because I worry that he's going to think I've got hypochondria just because I turn up with saying I don't feel right. So I don't go. I put it off. I've had a health and well-being checkup I've supposed to have been doing recently. I've put it off 5 times now. I can't face going out of the house to do it. Simple things, going to the kids' school. We've moved really close to it. Going for a parents' evening. I can't do it. I absolutely can't do it. I've built up this like I said, the mask that a lot of us hide behind, where everything's okay or laughing and joking. When it comes down to it and I actually have to do something, I'm just turned into a little sheep. I'm just I can't do any of it. I can't face it. All my confidence has gone to the point where, as you rightly said, Darren, it manifests in physical stuff. The anxiety, it physically is debilitating. And it's unreal. I've never felt anything like it. I feel like I'm rambling now, but I mean, it'll be the same for all of us. When there's so many things go on with our lives, when we've been experiencing both depression or anxiety for over a long time, there's like this catalogue of places where you can start on your story, and you could we could all talk all night about ourselves on it. Weirdly, even the thought of that, I'm thinking that's really selfish of me if I do that. What a piece of shit I am if I talk about myself when I'm listening to these gentlemen unloading themselves. I've got to just sit back and say nothing. It's not right for me to have the spotlight on myself because I don't deserve it and shit like that. I'm going there.
You do.
You do. Everyone does.
Yeah,
that is important. Just keep talking.
Yeah,
it really does.
I hate this. This is one of the reasons. It's that stupid macho manly block, isn't it? Don't want to look like you're weak on stream. Don't or to anybody else. Don't want to have the tears going. But I knew I didn't want to come onto this stream tonight. I didn't feel right for it, but I knew I just had to because it's important getting this message out. And I think when people see the likes of me, lots of people know me in the chat from different channels, always messing about, always confident, and always talking away like it nothing matters in the world. Talking about how I've just moved house and I've cleared my debts and it's a great feeling and everything. It hasn't helped me. It's helped a little bit. It's little things off the plate, but all of those things that I've got issues with in the first place are still there. It still eats away at me. There's this dark shadow in the back of your mind, and it's always there. Anything can make it grow. It's very difficult to push it back, though. And there'll be an awful lot of people like me out there feeling the same sort of crap and won't do anything about it. And I'm such a hypocrite, because I'll sit here and tell you, please go and see somebody, and I won't do it myself. How pathetic is that? I just feel like I'm gone. I can't help it. I can't help myself, but maybe I can help somebody else. And Brian will remember last year there was a chap we were trying to help, desperately trying to help in our community. His name was Andrew Bailey. Perhaps some of you might remember him. He was very, very quiet, meek kind of fella. He had alcoholic problems as an alcoholic, were stemmed from him in absolute mental health crisis. We managed to talk him into getting in contact with health professionals, and he got himself booked into a psychiatric ward. GPs on the case to help him. People coming out to help him as well. We were constantly chatting. Brian and I were taking in tag team terms just to talk to him through the night sometimes, keep him going till morning, try and let him know that there's people there for him all the time. But it didn't matter in the end. Eventually, he took his own life. And it dawned on me that point was the point where I thought, never again am I ever going to refuse to go on a stream just to tell my part of it, the story, and how it affects me. And I don't care if I look weak. I don't care if I look silly when I talk about it, or people are surprised coming from me. It's really important. And if you're out there, and there will be a lot of you that do feel the same things that we feel on this stream now, and people we're offloading some of it. There's a lot of emotion with it. There's a lot of there's a lot that really gets you down deep. It's very difficult to talk about it, but that's why it's so important. It's stuff that you have been suppressing for so long. It's ruining your life. If you can't get that out, if you can't just give yourself that kick up, it's not even a kick up the arse, just allow yourself that moment of weakness, open up to somebody that can open up a door to getting yourself in a better place, whether it's through professional help, whether it's through finding friends, finding other people with the same experiences. We've got little support groups. I know, Brian, we used to have a support group within an actual WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
I think it's probably still there. I didn't feel it was appropriate to be there, for me to be there, because I thought other people are really struggling, but I'm all right. More time goes on, I realise I'm not all right. I'm really not. And this persona that I've built up, Cver, everybody loves Cver. Funny guy. Yeah, it's all bullshit. I wake up, I go to bed every night thinking, what's the point? Wake up every morning thinking, what's the point? Nothing changes. It's this. We often talk about, when we got depression, about the feeling of being in a well. When you're at the absolute bottom, you can't see any way out, all blackness. That's actually a good place to be, because when you hit rock bottom, everything is up. But most people don't realise they are falling, and they are falling at the moment. That's the worst time, because you don't know how far down that well goes. You don't know what's coming up at the bottom, and you're desperately thinking you're going to find your way out of it when you're not. A lot of us just find a way to hang on to the rim, for dear life. If we're there, we're okay. That's when we say, "Oh, you're all right? Yeah, I'm okay." Sometimes you are. Sometimes you just got something to hang on to. Other times you are plummeting down there, and nobody can help you while that's happening. You have to find that solid ground at the bottom. Sometimes it's opening up, let it all out. Tears, embarrassment, whatever it takes. Just strip yourself down to bare bones and let somebody that can help you.
Let yourself cry.
Yeah, let yourself cry. Let yourself feel ashamed. All of it. Yeah. Everything you're suppressing. Somebody that's a professional can talk to you at that point. You can actually go through it. I'm so bad at this, though. I will still, even though I know all this information and I tell it to other people, I just cannot do it myself. And I just don't know why. It's fear, I think. I don't like what I am at the underlying me. I've got self-loathing. I don't want people delving into that and seeing what I see. It puts you in a really difficult place. So for me, the only coping mechanism I have is humor. It's comedy, dark comedy especially, or throw myself into football.
As men, from a certain era, and that we're taught, never show your feelings. You're the man of the house. All the old sayings of being the man of the house. Sorry to interrupt, but you've got to show. We're all human. We're all built the same. You've got to show you. The one thing like last 3 or 4 weeks with me, I've just cried. I've cried at the most strangest, stupidest things. But it helps. You just get it out, and then you wake yourself a bit, and then you go. You feel better for it. Little things, whatever. If it works, it works. I always get like when you're saying about humour and that. Like the one that I always go back to was using Robin Williams. One of the funniest guys ever.
Yeah.
Laughing and joking 24/7. Takes his own life. You don't. It's a cover. It's a cover. When that door. I watched the Gaza. I shouldn't have watched it a few nights ago. I watched the Gaza documentary. Somebody that we all love as a footballer, and what he went through as a person, and as his phone tapped for 13 years, sent him paranoid because he'd only told his parents certain things on the phone, and it ends up in the newspapers. He locked himself in a hotel and just drank. People can say, and people just say, "Oh, he's a drunk. He's a waste of time." That bloke had the world, and they built him up, the media, and chopped him down. And he'll always be my hero. But it's a miracle that man's still alive, because what he's actually been through. They've pulled him out of a full bath in a hotel room. They've knocked the door down and saved his life. He was going mad from people like Piers Morgan, tapping his phone. It would send any of us crazy. If you haven't told somebody something, and then it's getting leaked into the newspapers, you're like, well, how do they know? And that, like Gaza, Robin Williams, it's like I said, it's just things that I always resonate to and go back to. But sorry for interrupting. But yeah, just you got to, like I said, talking is,
Darren, I have to say with Gaza, me and Cver especially, we are well known for our love affair with that man.
Amazing.
I've had the pleasure of meeting him on quite a few occasions. Mel Steen, when he was his agent, his son Paul was at my Jewish youth club.
Yeah.
I've told this story famously. Paul Gascoigne came to his bar mitzvah, and it was the day that Spurs beat Oxford 4-2 on the run to the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a synagogue so full in my life. It was like 3 to a chair. And the rabbi even asked Gaza to come up and do the sermon, and Gaza stood up to do it. And he was like, no, sit down, Gaza. And then he pissed off and obviously did what he did. But Cver, I want to say to you as well, I know I've never said this before, to anyone that's suffering and finds it hard to talk about, one of my very, very close friends over here, she suffers with a lot of things. But one of the easiest ways, and one of her counsellors told me this, and I've never taken it on board myself, but I only do it with her. She doesn't like opening up and saying, right, I'm having a bad day. This is why, this is why, this is why. I don't know if anyone knows about the 5 pots. So if you think about 5 pots on the just 5 cooking pots, and basically pot 1 is just filled with water a little bit, and gradually each pot gets hotter and hotter, and number 4 is it's boiling and it's simmering, and number 5 is it's boiling over and everything. And all she says to me, whenever you speak to me or I say I'm having a bad day, I don't want to talk about it. I just need you to talk to me. Just ask me, what pot am I? And I know 0 is like, she's fine. There's nothing, but the water's just there. And if she says 4 or 5, it's like, right, she doesn't even need to say anything. She does not say a word. I'm just like, right, I need to make sure I'm looking after her. I need to make sure, because there's simple techniques like that that can be of a huge help. Because if people don't want to open up and say, and people might not find it, like and Cver, God bless you for, and I will say this, Cver is much loved within this community. Like, you will not hear a bad word said about this man, who has supported more people than I care to remember. Has always, no matter what time of day, no matter what, been available to pick up the phone and speak to someone. He honestly is one. Look, honestly, my world is a brighter place because this man is in it. That man is in it, and all of you and everyone in the chat. Cver, what you've just said, mate. Listen, you know everyone is always here for you.
That man, Cver.
We'll always be here for you, mate. And, you and I will talk later on or over the weekend or something. It's just so. Listen, unless anyone has anything else they want to share, I think we'll wrap up here. But first of all, Darren. Oh, go on, Dave. Go on, Dave. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, just quickly, like, because obviously, you know, I just wanted to say to Darren and Cver, like, you know what I mean, when it comes to symptoms and stuff like that. Now, I find little tricks to trick my body into quelling them symptoms, yeah? Now, obviously, you said Cver, which obviously amazing talking, mate. I get it. I understand exactly what you said about the whole, you can help everyone else, but you can never help yourself. Because I figured out the reason why, and I managed to actually stop that thought process, is because your mind doesn't want you to. Because anxiety is like a comfort. When you live through it for so long and when you deal with it, you get used to it and you accept it. So then it becomes like a second part. It becomes like that second voice within your head. I learned to drown out that voice slightly. It's still there, but slightly there. But going on the whole heart rate and stuff like that, right? I still get that at times. You know what I mean? I get palpitations and everything. The one thing I learned to help slow that down at times, and I know this is going to sound crazy to everyone in chat. If everyone's ever heard of the vagus nerve,
yeah.
So you have a nerve that goes through the entirety of your body.
Yeah.
You can actually trick that to calm yourself down by basically, it sounds daft, but you know when you go for a toilet, you go for a shit, and you clench at times?
Yeah.
If you do that, like just sitting in there and you clench down, you will literally feel your heart rate drop. Once you stop clenching, your heart rate will go up and then it levels out, because what that does is trick your vagus nerve.
Yeah.
Now, that's a trick I learned myself, and it helped me a lot of the times. When I felt my heart rate high, I did that numerous times, and it started leveling out. And it just gave me that hour, that 10 minutes of peace.
So when I had my blackout a couple of months back, they put it down to something called vasovagal syncope, which is again your vagal nerve, which is, you know, it's the nerve that basically controls the blood flow to your brain and everything. So the reason I blacked out was because of a split second I didn't get the blood flow to my brain because of my vagal nerve, due to my blood pressure spiking and dropping and what have you.
Yeah.
And again, I've learned some of this through Dr. Google, unfortunately, but it can be helpful for some things. But learning, just saying that, like I said, the vagal nerve is huge, especially for somebody with anxiety. And you made some great points there because people have blacked out going to the toilet. That are, you know, as silly as that sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I everything you've come up with tonight is like, I've resonated with so much of it.
Yeah.
It's weird and it's interesting, and you're learning from different people and different situations. But the reason you're saying, like I said, about not wanting to help yourself but helping others is because you're a giving person. You're not a selfish person. And sometimes in these situations you have to be selfish, because if you're not going to look after yourself, nobody else is going to look after you.
Correct.
You know, you've got to.
100%.
It is hard, but you've got to retrain that to look after yourself first and foremost. Get up, self-care, some days you've been there. I've been through it for the last week. I've struggled to get out of bed and have a shower and put my socks on. You know, you've got to put yourself first, because first and foremost, if you don't do it, nobody else will.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the problem though as well, isn't it? Because
self-care, mate, is vital.
Not just that, but we can know it and we can tell ourselves it.
Oh yeah,
but we still don't believe it.
Yeah,
that's what I find a real problem. I have all the information I need to be able to help myself, and just cannot do it.
But that there, Cver, is where you're in that predicament of the anxiety's there, but it's also the depression.
Yeah,
you know what you need to do, but that depression side, which I was there many, many years ago, that depression side is what's stopping you from doing that. So it's like a wall. It's like you ever seen the Star Wars where we're in the thing.
There's a war going on in your head.
Yeah,
you know, like you said, anxiety makes you worry and care about everything. Depression makes you worry and care about nothing.
Yep.
And that is just spinning around in your head, and it just it never mixes.
It's an ultimate war. It's an ultimate battle there, just constantly. But you know, like we've all done tonight, every single one of us and people in the chat, simply talking about it is the main thing. You know, when you sit there and you talk about it, parts of your brain recognize what you're doing because you're accepting it. Now, anxiety, depression, everything becomes really bad is when you don't accept it. You know, within yourself, you can sit there and go, yeah, well, I accept that I have anxiety, but you haven't truly accepted it. You're just saying it. It's like, I'm going to quit smoking. Then you go pick up a fag. You know, you're just saying it like that. But when you can accept it within yourself and come out publicly and be like, this is who I am, this is what I am. Like Cver said, a mask, right? I got a mask on all the time. I'm smiling, I'm happy, I'm positive. But that's what we do. It's the way you deal with it. Yeah. Because, like Cver said, you can't just sit there, drop that mask, let everything out, and think you're going to be accepted for it. Because mental health is still, to this day, it's still a stigma. And it's always been like that. There is this weird stigma around it. Yeah, I guarantee 90% of people within their life will suffer with mental health. Yeah. Whether it's struggling with a job, whether it's worrying about an occasion, whether it's what we're going through with full-blown anxiety and depression, everyone deals with it.
Spot on.
Absolutely.
Spot on. Spot on, Had. I was just going to say as well, just very quickly.
When people say to you, man up, you know.
I hate that saying. I goddamn hate that saying.
Whoever invented that saying.
Oh, it's disgusting. But I'm just going to bring a couple of things up. I've shared here. Cver has seen this video, and I've shared it with someone Cver and I are helping. Darren, I shared it with you, the third grade dropout. I don't know if you've watched that video.
No
worries. Listen. There's a certain video that I play whenever I'm feeling low, whenever I'm feeling bad. I can't tell you how many times I play this video. It's got a bit of comedy. It's a guy who's just given a very big award at university, since I think it is. He's a very, very good speaker, and it's a 10-minute video. And every time I'm low, I watch this video. And I just got a couple of super chats spring up. Now, listen, like you said about Andy, the Man's Club, Darren, I'm very, very lucky. My kind of walking club, thank God, is Toronto Spurs. And this man here, Bobby Kay, is who I met via Toronto Spurs. He then became part of the YouTube community and started coming on the channels. He now has his own channel with Cver. And this guy, honestly, if ever I'm in doubt or ever in need of anything, this guy will pick up the phone in seconds. This guy will, and it's straight back to him. I love his family and his kids and everything about it. I can't wait to see him Sunday. Thank you very much for the super chat. And Mr. Andrew Gregory, who put in a £50 super chat about Mental Health Awareness Week when we're doing Andrew Management, has just put in another whopping £50 one. Andrew Gregory, you did not, mate. I can't express the support that we get from
his internet's gone.
My internet.
Yeah, you cut off, then you completely glitched.
Well, thank you. We're going to wrap it up just before the weather. Let's do it. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Like I said, we are going to do one over the summer. And if Darren wants to come back on, of course, you're there. Cver, Dave, it will be one where I'm going to put the link in the chat, and there will be mental health specialists that will be coming to join.
Well, can I just say one thing?
Of course you can, buddy.
My supporters club, Worcester Spurs Supporters Club, Saturday, June the 8th, we are, our ambassador is a good friend of mine, played for Spurs in the 70s, Alfie Conn. He lost his wife a couple of years ago to motor neurone disease. And Saturday, June the 8th, we're walking from Wembley to Spurs via Brentford, Fulham, Chelsea, Arsenal, and finishing at Tottenham, 23.6 miles, raising money for MND Scotland. I've got a Just Giving page. If you could follow Worcester Spurs Supporters Club.
Do me a favour, Darren, can you WhatsApp it to me now?
Yeah, well, I can do it once we finish this.
Yeah, no worries. We will put it.
Any donations would be greatly appreciated, just for MND. And again, we're walking, we've been talking to each other, and anybody having any issues, again, just getting out there, fresh air. And if we just want to raise some money for motor neurone disease. So, if anybody that could donate, even if it's £1, would be much appreciated. So,
Darren, what we'll do is, what we'll do is, when I end the stream, stay here, don't go anywhere because we'll be in the back end. But what we will do is, once you WhatsApp that to me, I'll give it to Dave, who's on our Twitter. He managed Tottenham on Tour Twitter, and we'll blast it for you. And we'll. Oh, there you go. I think he's found it already. Yeah. There you go. Ben moves in mysterious ways. He's found it. There is the link. We will put it up on our socials. Yeah. I just want to thank Darren, Cver, Dave, the 273, almost 300 watching it. And as I said, most important thing about this stream wasn't the likes, wasn't the super chats. It's getting this message out there and share it. So if you do have the opportunity, it's on my Twitter, it's on Tottenham on Tour's Twitter. If you could just simply retweet it or share it within your WhatsApp groups or with people that you may benefit from it, that is all we ask. We will be back with the big one in the summer.
One really quick one, just a tiny bit of advice to anybody in the same position as myself, and I'm sure we'll all agree. When you have those bad days, there's very little we can do about it. When you have a slightly better day, there's an opportunity to do something to improve your lot. Take it. Do not wait. If you go one more day and you haven't done it, you're going to feel even worse.
Yeah,
it's just more ammunition to put back on yourself. So big up when you do manage to do something. Like you said, Darren, if you get that little checklist or those little pockets of achievements for the day, if you accomplish something, no matter how little, just give yourself a little pat on the back for it because you've done something.
Every day's a battle. And when you get to the end of the day and you wake up the next morning, give yourself a pat on the back because you've got through it.
Yeah,
and you start again.
There you go. And like I said, we'll continue this backstage and have a little bit of a debrief. But everyone, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Listen, this isn't about likes, comments, subscribing, blah blah blah, and it's certainly not ending a stream how I normally end it. I'll do what Fraser says. I won't say goodbye Seattle. I'll say everyone, good mental health. We're out of here.